Alright. Should have sound coming through now. I'm trying to do Discord and this at the same time, so I've set all my friends to push to talk. So they should not be able to hear me, so I am sorry. Just kind of getting the stream started here. I have been, experimenting with this for about a week now, and just basically, as I said, just trying to get this started. So I'm playing a little bit of Magic: The Gathering Arena. Give me a moment. I need to do some other adjustments here. Turn down my friends just a little bit. Okay, so they're not quite so distracting now. So this way, if I need to say something to them, well, you guys are going to hear it too, so that could definitely be a problem. I may have a solution. Well, so you guys are going to end up hearing any comments that I have to make unless I'm muted out real quick. Still working on some aspects of this. Like I said, I'm not full-time streaming right now, so it is, kind of trying to blend it together with stuff that I'm already doing in real life and stuff that I'm doing in the game. But if you enjoy my streams, by all means, subscribe, follow me. Would highly appreciate it just to get this going. Playing a little bit of Magic: The Gathering Arena, just doing the daily quest right now. Each day they reset. There's probably a definite time, but there's a countdown timer that will for sure let you know. So each day you're going to start out with a daily quest that'll generally require you to cast a certain number of spells of various colors. I've been playing in the open beta for a little bit now, so I've already completed all the quests that involve getting your freebie decks and such. I will try to start releasing some training videos at some point in the future and kind of maybe start a new account. Generally, you're going to accumulate gold, which you can use to purchase packs and participate in some of the daily events. You also get, at this moment, runs on a weekly cycle, 3 card packs. Total of 15 wins will get you a total of 3 card packs with the current series, or the current set of Guilds of Ravnica. So, and then you'll have ones that will generate small amounts of gold for wins that reset daily, as it says. And also a single free card, which at this moment appears to be primarily uncommons. But I'm just going to jump in and play a little bit. Yeah. I've got some in the freezer. I made. No, some that I made. I am going to be playing Ajani's Stand, which is one of the freebie decks that they give you, as you progress through the early stages of the game. Primarily because it allows you to cast white and red spells. Or, I'm sorry, and the daily quest involves casting white or red spells. So any spell that I cast while playing with this deck, which is pretty solid, I just won my last match with it, will apply credit towards this daily bonus of gold, which I will use to purchase another pack. Doing best, I typically do best of one. Just because it's a casual play style, I often have to get up, do other things, not necessarily pause the game, but just kind of stop what I'm doing. So, waiting on this to load up here, and looks like a fairly solid initial draw on the land, but the spells that I'm getting, those seal-aways are very, very useful. But do I really need 2 of them in my hand? Probably not, but I'm going to go ahead and keep this draw and see how things go, because I can get some early work on getting few of Johnny's welcomes out early on. Can help build land up really, or I'm sorry, build life up very, very quickly. I personally get very annoyed with these kinds of decks when I'm playing against them. I'll give you guys the opportunity to see two of my, it looks like this gentleman's playing a vampire deck, by the way, which I have one. Pretty pleased with it. I'll give you guys the opportunity to see some of my other decks that I put together after we complete the building. Yeah, so I'm definitely playing a type of vampire deck. Maybe one that he put together himself without much framework in whatever he had, or it could turn out to be something pretty nasty. Gonna hold off on the seal-aways just for now. I'm more interested to see if he gets things on the board like the Legionnaire that does the +1/+1 to all vampires, and kind of run with that. So I will get that Leonine War Leader out though here pretty soon, because it will allow me to look life very quickly. Now, one of the things that I could have done just there is hit pass turn. That will kind of prevent me from doing anything. Let me see here. But it also makes it look like I don't have anything to play. So, if he's taking advantage of the Surveil element, that Whispering Stitch can be, or Snitch can be pretty good. I apologize up front for pronunciations. So at this point, we'll go ahead and take away on this Bloodletter. If it flies, not too worried about the life of the guy right at the moment. I'm going to be able to play this guy right now. At least some activity going on here. So every time this guy attacks, he's going to generate a 1/1 token, which is going to give me 2 life for each token. So the Ajani's welcome to pretty strong. So he's insane playing a white, a lot of vampires, but a white and black deck. So there's nothing too crazy. Obviously, you can tell this being one of the starter decks, this provides you with a lot of life as quickly as it can from token and cheap creatures. So he could very, very easily wipe out my War Leader now if he chose to block. So I think I'm going to hold off for a turn. I have not modified this deck in any way, by the way, from the original that is provided to you. So now I'm kind of at his mercy. I will most likely lose this match. But if I can get rid of that Bishop of Binding, which if he were to attack with it, I certainly could. It would help. I'm gonna let him through. This is interesting. I can choose to get my War Leader back. I think I will hold off on that. And let him see if he attacks with it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the equation because it's a big flying creature. Not big, but large enough to be a nuisance, and I have enough mana left to be able to defend against that Bishop of Binding should he choose to attack with it, which he will probably be reluctant to do. So this is interesting. There's a lot of your generic white type of sealing spell, can't attack, you know, pacification type spell. This is not my first playthrough exactly with this particular deck, but I don't play the pre-made deck with the pre-made decks unless they are running the daily quest, and I like to use them because they're already made up. I'm not really that concerned as to whether I win or lose. Just kind of, we'll go ahead and block one of those just because it will generate me a lifelink token. I'm sure he has plenty of opportunity to generate tokens on the board. So he's definitely a variation of a deck that I like to use. The Vampire involves a lot of token generation. I see some cards that aren't on the board yet. Yes. So he is overwhelming me with life generation right now. There's very little chance I'm going to win this. Not impossible. I noticed I have not pulled any red mana whatsoever. I could retweak this deck, make it a little bit more robust, but I am probably just going to concede. Odds of me winning that are pretty bad. And at this point, the ranking system is mostly broken. Based on everything that I've read and seen from other friends that I have that play this game. So I am going to leave. But it gave me a pretty good amount of progress towards getting those 500 coins. So if I can win another match and get the 500 coins at 600, that would put me pretty close to being able to go ahead and get my free pack for the day. I usually use the coins to... I don't participate in a lot of events at this stage. I will start doing that a bit more in the future. I might even purchase some gems a little bit later. Just depends on how I'm feeling, whether I'm still interested in the game. But I will step away for a few moments. I'm going to fill up my coffee, and I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so thank you for waiting there. Right now, I am trying to build up my follower base. It's a pretty important step in the whole process of becoming a streamer. So I'm going to send out a shout out on Facebook and just encourage everyone, let them know that I am doing a stream. Somebody got a message. Which might have been. Alright, so I'm gonna play one more round using this Ajani stand. Again, one of the pre-made decks. Not Yeah, I have won a match and lost a match using this. Not real impressed with the deck overall, but it definitely has some positive elements. It's a good, easy, straightforward deck for players. I myself prefer white, black, and red. Blue is fine. Not real fond of using it myself. It's not that the mechanics are terribly complicated, it's just not my preferred play style. So I'm just sorting some things out here. So this, you know, will allow me to get a few early items on the board for all that I got. This Ajani's Pridemate gains life every time, every time you gain life, you put a 1/1 token on it. Can make it pretty devastating in these types of combinations. Ajani's Welcome will, generate life every time I bring out a creature, which will put tokens on the Pridemate. So, quite interesting. Got a good starting run here. Probably should have waited on him, but I at least wanted to field something on the board. And I can always throw him out there and hope that he dies with the absolute expectation of generating additional life when his token pops. That's sort of what it sounds like. And just so everyone knows, again, I am also in Discord, so I can hear them. You guys cannot. That is, there's some good reasons for that, but they are not playing this game. So, but I am still occasionally pushed to talking some comments to them. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Pridemate now. Now it's going to generate life, which is going to generate tokens. So he is going to actually, or not tokens, but rather counters. So he is going to actually make himself stronger just by getting thrown out there. And he's getting stronger now. So he probably should not, this other player should not have blocked him. But now I have a 6/6 on the board very, very early on. Something involving he's probably going to try to play a large creature. This is a dinosaurish deck. Green, red, straight, big deal for them. I'll go ahead and activate my webcam so you guys can see. There we are. So yeah, you can see my pretty face. Or not so pretty face. But I have a Pacify type card in my hand. I'm going to hold on to that until he plays whatever big creature he's interested in throwing out there. So even if he blocked with everything he had, in theory, no mana, he's not going to be able to do a whole lot against this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there and see what happens. He can easily block with a single creature, which is what he's going to do. Alright, Viper, well that's... Well, holler at us later. I'll most likely be around. This is that big mob I was worried about. We're going to get him pacified very, very quickly. Which will undoubtedly upset our opponent there, just a tad. I'm sorry, sir. Yes, I can completely understand that. Alright, so this will allow me to do everything I can do. This is going to make the Pridemate bigger. You're going to decline the card draw. Apologize if I'm a little bit quiet. I'm actually trying to get a little bit more. I'm playing Magic right now, so I'm actually like putting some audio into the stream. They can't hear you guys, and they can only hear me talk to you if I do the push to talk. But I am listening to everything you're saying, and I don't mind if they hear what I say. I'm not doing that for anything other than I don't want to say certain things because you're streaming or. Right. Your message was received about needing help and sugar. I am wiping the floor with this poor child. Well, I assume it's a child. I don't know what it is, to be honest. Who my opponent is. Yeah, not really. I mean, he doesn't seem to understand how this game works. But I'm just trying to do this one white-red deck that they give you as a freebie is pretty robust. This one is the Ajani. It relies a lot on the Ajani's wealth. Those pride mates are pretty nasty in the right situations. They generate a +1/+1. You just can see. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it's a very frustrating deck, as I had mentioned. Say that one more time. No, white-red. Yep, so I'm 50 coins away from getting... it has... it's got a picture of the angel in front of it. It's called Ajani's Stand, but it relies a lot on the Ajani's Welcome, which is the one that gives you life every time you cast out a creature. And then there's Ajani's Pride Mate on there, which it gets +1/+1 every time you gain life. So it they reinforce each other. You know, every time you either generate a token or one of your lifelink creatures hits something, the Ajani's Pride Mate's getting stronger and stronger, which is slowly building you up to a pretty devastating creature. And then it's got quite a bit of pacification built into it as well. You know, different versions of that where they either can't attack, can't block, or they're just exiled. So that helps deal with the big creatures. So it's fairly balanced, and my play style, I like white, I like red, I like black. So it's a good deck for my play style. It's simple and straightforward. Which, if you wanted to, you know, commentary a little bit, if you're not doing something else, I can certainly include your comments in the stream. Gotcha. Yeah. You can't, I mean, I know this isn't the optimal option, especially in this day and age, but you can't really walk anywhere, can you? Yeah, that would be considered untenable for, you know, especially for sugar. I mean, I can get some basic things close to... Right, exactly. I can get some basic things close by, but actual grocery shopping is the same situation, requires a ride. Especially if I want to eat anything other than processed crap food. I mean, Family Dollar carries a lot of stuff. Ooh, now I'm putting a plug in. But Family Dollar carries a lot of stuff, but if you had to live off of the food that you eat there, yeah, it's not healthy. Yeah, very likely. So, Just a moment, guys. My friend and I are, and I was thinking about including his audio track in the stream, but he has decided he's not quite ready for that. He's actually got some other things he wants to do, and we were discussing that. If you didn't catch all that, but I hope I'm getting some viewership. Well, that is most unfortunate, sir. I've got a buddy that's a welder, but he's a bit too far away for you. Oh yeah, that's not good. No doubt. So not launching yet, but I am gonna show you guys one of my creations. It's not as though it's a unique concept, but I've got an RB Drake's deck, red and blue is the RB. Had to make some changes to it. All right, buddy. Well, be careful. Have fun. Good luck on the groceries. I will be around. Yep, I have to do that quite often. Right. Yeah, I've done that many times. Does she consider you a creepy old man? I'll say I would hope not. Oh. Well, I mean, I don't obviously have no way of knowing that, but I mean, if she did, she could have been genuinely concerned for your safety. Yeah, or hers. Considering what Google astral projection indicated from your neighborhood, you know that there's some element close by that would be of concern to me if I were to live there. No, I'm referring to the older structures that are very near to your part of the complex. That look very much like a, yeah. Yeah. Probably are. That's cool. All right, sir. Have fun. Do your best. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for that interruption. Friend of mine leaving to go try to find a ride to the grocery store. I am in a similar fashion, you know, reliant on the kindness of others for transportation. Working on that, though, that is something that is liable to be repaired in my life sometime within the next year as things progress. So, back to the topic at hand. Now that I've completed the daily request requirement for the 500 coins, which was to, you know, cast 20 white and or red spells, then I can move on to actually playing a little bit of the decks that I like to use or typically use. So this RB Drake's deck is a modified version, I guess, of this Wrath of Mages. I have tweaked it a bit more to my liking. You will get to see it in action. So it is based on the Drakes that are included in the more recent sets that receive +1 to their power for every instant or sorcery card that you bring. And so naturally this is centered around them. A few other little tricks like the Gutter Snipe, which does damage each time you play one of those. You can see an example. This is one of the Crackling Drakes. Also allows you to draw a card when you play it, so it's a little more costly than the other type of Drake that you'll see, and you'll see a lot of instants and sorceries in this hand, or in this deck. And it's a decent starting hand. Could use a little more land, but at least I can play a couple things right off the bat. Try to keep my instants. Let's see. Try to keep my instants, especially my my direct damage spells like this on hand until a little bit later. I prefer to use these against my actual opponent, so all of the ones I like to use are going to be any target whenever possible. There's also an element of sorry, lost my train of thought. There's some counters in this deck as well. Right now we're still in the very, very early stages. I can wipe out very early small creatures when he starts to bring them out, which will make things a little aggravating for him. He's got a draw. Looks like he's using draw elements. I could and will go ahead and do that. Green deck, just so I countered that creature spell. As I said, probably a little frustrating for him, but this way he is, you know, doesn't get a good early start. If I get a Gutter Snipe on the board, I may go ahead and shoot these lightning strikes directly at him, because they're going to do essentially 5 damage, rather than just assuming that they get off. Another one I'm going to go ahead and wipe out here. Once I get the opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and remove that speaker, because they can be very annoying as he goes up. And I see he's got the Mistbender, so this is a Merfolk deck. I'm deal with that very quickly. Try to get that guy knocked out, and also the Mist. When he gets hit on the board. Only because we need to minimize his ability to get those types of things on the board quickly. They reinforce one another very quickly. Now I've got a Drake on the board, and this has given me a pretty good starting position here. We'll go ahead and attack. I'm more than willing to sacrifice that particular creature. This is keeping him from building up any kind of significant population of blockers and or damage dealers. My Drake is going to be pretty devastating as I continue to do that. He's getting himself some things out on the board. Let's see here. So I've got, this would cost me 3. So if I want to be able to keep the Lightning Strike, I'm going to go ahead and play the regular land. This is going to be held off until I either don't need it or it's the only option I have. So we're going to Gutter Snipe out on the board. Play the Lightning Strike. When and if he chooses to play this Mistbender, I'm going to wipe it out very quickly. We don't need that on the board. And I'll go ahead and attack with my Drake. I'm not worried about him being able to overwhelm me yet. It's very, very easy, though, with these types of decks for them to build up a lot of creatures very, very quickly. I'm more worried about those that have either persistent effects or effects that trigger later. So I know now that he's got, well, it's the same Mistbender. So we're going to let him build up a little, but as soon as he gets that Mistbender on the board, it is going to die. And it's going to do an additional 2 damage directly to him when I cast the Lightning Bolt. It would be nice to get more direct damage. So this is going down. I'm not going to allow that to stay on the board. As I said, I'm not too terribly worried about him direct damaging me at this point. Okay, so I got that down. I got another gutter site on board. I'd like to keep going. Go ahead and attack with the Drake. I need to get some cards in my hand, though. So we need to... one of the things I may need to work on with this deck is adding the ability to do some cycling to get cards out. And of course, he's got another one of those, at least at the bare minimum, kept him from building up a ridiculous number of... That's fine. Got the Drake. This is going to hurt a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and let him run through this time. Now I'm getting a series of lands, so little bit troublesome at this point. I'm going to go ahead and pass turn. I may have to sacrifice the Gutter Snipes, but I would rather not. This is problematic. And this was a big concern of mine for how these. In white, you have a very effective card called Ix, and apologize ahead of time for any pronunciation. And I don't want to that will prevent him from playing. Not only does it exile the card that he played, but it prevents any copies of that card from being played. That can be very effective against these type of decks where they're building up very quickly and are using multiple copies of reinforcement cards, like those that give other creatures +1/+1. Now I have a similar deck that's built around vampires, using merchants, original base deck, and modifying it a little bit. There's even some changes that I could potentially make to this, but it tends to stay very solid as it is right now. I may end up playing with it a little bit more as in terms of adjusting some of the combinations of vampire. This deck is built purely around vampires, so you're going to see a lot of vampires and a lot of things that reinforce vampires. Not a lot of early things that I'm going to be able to play here, but these Dusk Legion Zealots allow me to draw a card for the sake of life when I get them on the board. That will be very helpful. So far, a black deck. So I've got 2 Legion Lieutenants already. So they are going to buff up my vampires very, very quickly. First play, just go ahead and get this out there and get it established. It's gonna set the stage for what kind of deck this is if you have to just take a peek at it. But already getting some reasonably good cards. It's gonna make it a little harder for him to just overwhelm early. So my most likely next play will be Legion Lieutenant, then the Zealot, then the Legion again. Something happens to change it. That Radiant Destiny, very, very helpful. So now we're going to have 2 I'm going to go ahead and hold off. That'll prevent him from attacking next turn. Now, your Ixalan's Binding can be very useful against stuff like this. This particular Phoenix, when it dies, goes into the graveyard, generates a token. Now and the token will respawn it the following cycle. In this case, the beginning of his next upkeep. If you take out that token, it does prevent the Phoenix from respawning. But another benefit is if you get the Binding, it also takes them out. So now I've got a little more to go from here. I can get 2 1/1s on the board, or I can buff what I have. I am going to go ahead and actually get a bit of a gamble, but it makes me look a little bit more intimidating. It's less likely he will attack if he thinks he's going to need to block. We'll leave that as that for right now. Sanctum Seeker. Not unexpected, especially playing against black decks that they'll have instant creature removal. Not a big deal. Will slow me down. I was about to mention the Sanctum Seeker here. Every time a vampire attacks, I gain life, he loses life. could be, when used in concert, can be really interesting. Does not have to tap. So you can, if you start to build up a strong foundation of creatures, you can actually, especially a little later in the game, throw one of these down and just en masse attack him. And you, before they even touch him, I will start gaining life, he will start losing life. I'm probably going to go ahead and throw down the Legionnaire Lieutenant, or Legion Lieutenant next turn. He's got him a big guy with haste. Doesn't surprise me, he's going to attack with him. I'm going to go ahead and block it, because I don't mind the sacrifice. I also got lifelink here on these guys. One will survive, and I will have basically negated his attack. Now, this does slow me down just a little. I'm going to go up a bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and attack him, just to keep his mind off a bit. Maybe a little less likely to attack next turn. Or he may remove the Legion attack. Again, not surprising. Doesn't do a whole lot against the Radiant Destiny, though, which is very weird. So, let's see. Next round, we'll have to kind of play it by ear. I'm running into an issue with getting land. Of course, he's doing that, which is pretty good. It's allowing him to draw cards, and then he's going to get his bird back the next turn. If I can remove that token, though, won't really be an issue. And that is exactly what I want. Graveyard manipulation, he's going to still be able to get the bird out of the graveyard. But it clearly slowed him down, which was definitely what I was going for. Let's see, not quite ready for the Twilight Prophets. Very, very powerful card. Helps you draw, does damage, and you gain life. But you need to have it in, you need to be Ascend, meaning you have to have 10 permanents on the board. You need to get my permanents built up a little bit, and then I will start playing those. This is definitely, this cycle, this turn is going to help with that, for sure. So now I have Ascend, or City Blessing, better way to put it. And I have 3 2/2s on the board. One of them with lifelink. He's burning up his creature removal on small threats, which, you know, if you're concerned about your life total, kind of helpful. Good idea, but totally not wise given he's got 18 life and I'm still building tokens. Next turn, I may do the Twilight Prophet or I may do the Sanctum Seeker, depending on how he responds, because I will gain 5 life right off the bat if I throw it down before doing an offensive attack. Assuming he doesn't kill more of my critters. Using as much creature removal as he has available. Wise, you know, given his circumstances. But he seems to be having a little trouble keeping up. So we are going to get up life and hurt. As you can see, pretty effective deck. Very good chance I could win this next turn. And apparently he calculated likewise. So, round over. A shout out to anyone that is in fact watching. Highly appreciate you guys. Don't know who all's out there. Feel free to shout out in chat. I do peek at it. I have it up. I can see you guys, and again, in the early stages, this is my first, what I would consider to be a genuine stream, not scheduled, actually providing commentary. You know, you guys can hear me, you can see the game, you can see me. So I'm going to go ahead and do another quick share directly to my Facebook. Have already posted it on my Arrowhead Gaming page, which is just a startup. keys are starting to stick on this keyboard. Just posting on my personal Facebook page and trying to help people, trying to get followers. That's really all I'm looking for right now. I'm not, obviously donations are accepted, but it's not not a big thing right now. Not necessarily trying to make money doing this, just trying to get followers, get noticed, see how things go. So post to Facebook. And we're off. So I'm going to take another quick break here before I start the next round, and go ahead and grab some more coffee. So be right back. Okay, so thank you very much for waiting. So I've earned enough coins to get my free pack. So I'm gonna go. Well, it's technically not free. I mean, I'm paying for it with coins, but the free packs are coming in down here. If I get 2 more wins, then I will earn an actual free pack, and I will grab that pack here in just a moment. What I am going to mention here right now, there's several games that I play on a fairly regular basis. I stream a lot of Fallout Shelter, which is a mobile game slash PC game slash probably every platform game that's kind of built around the whole Fallout universe, like you're operating one of the vaults. If you play much Fallout or know anything about Fallout, a lot of it comes out around a lot of lore and whatnot centers around the vaults, where humanity was intended to be saved during the Great Nuclear War that occurred, the Great War. And so this game, if you check out any of my streams, mostly throughout the week, that are pretty random at this point, you'll see me playing around with that. There's a few other games. Fallout 76, which I have played in beta and have streamed some, will be launching on November 14th here in a few days, and I will be streaming that whenever I play with my friends, whenever possible. There may be some mature content in the conversations. I will try to mitigate that as much as possible. But I also have a few other things that you know, a few other games. There's Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, set in the Greek islands, and I will occasionally be streaming that. I'm trying to set it up to be a little bit more consistent and regular with a, you know, more set schedule. At this stage, I haven't yet reached that point. Still working out a number of smaller things, you know, how to get it promoted on Facebook, how to gain followers, how to you know, get the sound working the way I want it to work. And feel free to comment if you're viewing me on a platform that allows that, you know, YouTube and such, or write it, you know, type up things in chat. Suggestions are accepted. Not a real big fan, if, you know, of anybody going to be trolling, but I will pay attention if comments are made. Try to keep it civil, guys. You know, highly appreciated. And let's move on to going ahead and grabbing up my free pack. I'm working on an angel deck that is playable, very playable. I've been building on it for a while, but I'm still hoping to get some, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute. This is the 5th iteration of that deck where I keep tweaking it and making changes as I get new cards. So I'm trying to improve upon it, and these free packs definitely help with that. Let's open this puppy up. So in Magic Arena, you will get the packs contain, you know, 7 cards plus a mystery card that's always either a rare or a mythic rare that you get to flip. Obviously, there's some uncommons in here and commons. You're also going to get it builds at this moment it builds a counter towards wild card rewards. Wild cards are great in this online version of the game. One of the best tools that you have for deck building are these wild cards, because it'll allow you to pick, trade these in for a specific card of the rarity type to include in your decks. And any of the free decks you get, and this is Magic the Gathering Arena, which is an open beta again, so changes, you know, subject to change. But any of the free decks that you get as you progress through the earlier stages of the game, you also get to keep those cards as well. So you get to build from them. And the great advantage of digital over the paper version is that if you only have 4 copies of the card digitally, you can use those 4 copies as often as you want to build the decks. And you don't have to cannibalize one deck to create an entirely new one like you do with paper Magic. So it's a lot of fun. Magic is a pay-to-play game in a sense that you will definitely be able to do more if you spend money on it. But it is not a requirement. You can definitely enjoy the game without spending a dime on it, especially in this version. Magic Online, not quite as much, but with Magic the Gathering Arena, you definitely have, you know, more leeway, and you get enough to work with that you can have quite a bit of fun, because you're going to get packs, you know, from the free coins you get from wins and doing the dailies, and free packs from the dailies themselves that you can use to continue to build without spending a dime. So and each pack that you open accumulates towards these free wild cards. So many of them, 6 in fact. Every 6 packs you open will get you an uncommon wild card. Every I believe it's 32 packs that you open gets you a mythic rare wild card, and every 6 will also get you a rare wild card. I've got several of these now. It's a mythic rare. I in fact would like to restructure this angel deck in the future. It is based on, I call it an angel deck. It is based around a card called Divine Visitation, which converts all tokens into 4/4 flying angels. So for instance, you have this card here. If I was to retweak the deck right now, it's a pure white, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. I'm not going to make any major changes to it right at the moment, but I will go ahead and show you. It's pure white at the moment. Has a lot of angels in it, a lot of things to reinforce the angels, and a lot of token generation, and like things like Martyr of Dusk, where he dies, he generates a 1/1 token. Well, if you get Divine Visitation on the board, and you only need one. In fact, I may cut this back to 3. I'm trying very hard to increase the chances that I will get one of these in my first draw, or at least second or third draw, because it takes a little bit of mana to build up. And as you can see from the graph here, this deck is very, very mana heavy. And that's one of the problems and one of the reasons that I need to probably restructure the deck a little bit. One of the things that I could do is include some mana acceleration, which means to get possibly turn this into a white-green and add things like Llanowar Elves that will generate green mana and allow you to get, you know, mana on the board a lot quicker than you otherwise would be able to. Let's see. So the basic premise behind this deck is to survive long enough to get a Divine Visitation out and on the board. Once you start doing so, you can build up, you know, there's a number of different ways that the deck will generate tokens. And by generating those tokens, you end up with 4/4 Flying Angels, which can get pretty devastating. And then there's some cards in here that actually reinforce those angels. Lyra's Dawnbringer is a card that I'm looking to get more copies of. That will, that for one thing, gives all angels +1/+1. That card that I just got, let me see if I can find it here. I don't honestly recall the name of it. I can sort of remember the pattern, but I'm hoping I can just find it faster here. Keep in mind that I have taken long breaks from Magic, and this has left me not necessarily always being able to remember the names of the newer cards. And there's a lot in green that I can include in here that could actually turn out to be very, very helpful. So I really need to start looking at completely rebuilding this deck. Not quite from the ground up, but centered around Divine Visitation and a couple strong angels that reinforce the other angels. This one here is very nice. Shalai, the Voice of Plenty. She gives me any planeswalkers that I get on the board and all other creatures hexproof. Now, she's legendary, so unfortunately this keeps you from getting more than one copy of her on the board, because if you were to do so, you would have an entirely hexproof lineup, which would be great against a wide variety of different decks. But we are not able to do that. But I believe I'm now up to 2 or 3, and there might be an easier way to find this here. Either Eternal and Mythic Rare only collected, and that should allow me to find that a little faster here. Yep, here it is. Trostani Discordant. So I now have 2 of these, which is enough that it might be worth considering taking something else out and including it in the deck. If I can find some other good green cards, which I know they're in there, that would help reinforce this, generate some additional tokens, then you know, this could end up turning into a pretty solid Divine Visitation deck. I'm going to play it as it is right now, just to see how well my most current version is doing. Again, very mana heavy, not the most workable deck, but definitely wins. It's very powerful if you can linger long enough. Very fast decks, aggro decks as they're referred to as, this doesn't do as well unless they're having a bad day. So we'll see how this runs out here. We've got a guy that's using a very red option. We shall see what he has in store for us here. And if anybody is watching, appreciate it, actually watching. So let's see what we start out with here. We've got 3 mana to start off with. I can get some tokens on the board pretty early. Not really ideal, though, if you don't get a Divine Visitation. It's sort of the deck is not going to be working as intended, but we'll go ahead and keep this hand and see how it runs. I'm probably going to do some work on it, and we'll see what process we have. I am not a tournament player. I have been good enough and could have been in the past, but it's been a while, so I'm not learning the game by any stretch of the imagination. I have played since, at the very least, beta and 3rd edition, So I've been around a while, but there's a lot of episodes of the game that I've missed, so to speak. I've got Legion's Landing going out on the board. It's a pretty quick white 1/1 token with lifelink. It's an easy start, and it has the advantage that it will transform and turn into a valuable land for 8. So already starting to make some progress here early on. I'm going to go ahead and get my Martyr of Dusk. That helps as an early block. He chooses to sacrifice his Field Creeper, which it looks like he's going to get that off the board and gain a point life early on. And he's obviously not worried now. I do very much dislike this guy. This Poison Tip Archer is can be a real pain in the butt. So we need to try to find a way to get rid of him fairly quickly. He's got Death Touch, he's got Reach, and he also deals damage to me every time a creature dies. So it's a good idea to try to get this off the board as quick as you can manage. There's a couple different ways of doing that. Probably should have played going back, but I'm going to see. Well, no, that's not going to necessarily help me, so we'll off that just yet. Now, if he attacks with it, so then we got our different types of murder. This is how he's going to play this deck, is to try to kill off either his creatures or my creatures and do damage to me. So as soon as I get an opportunity, I need to remove him from the equation, if at all possible. So I've got quite a bit of token generation in my hand, but we're going to go ahead and reasonably good chance that he will try to kill it, and I will not probably be well. I won't be able to attack with it unless I'm going to sacrifice it. Pretty common card, the Carnage Titan. Or Tyrant, sorry. It seems to be pretty easy to get that on the board. I see a lot. When you have anybody playing green, you see this one a lot. The Trample, the Hexproof. It's almost a no. So he's built his deck around these Poison Tipped Archers. I've seen it many times. It can be a little tricky to beat these, honestly, at least the way that I play. Definitely got to be willing to do some sacrificial lambing here. So I am going to go ahead and see if we can get this Carnage Titan off sacrificing here. I'm going to take 3 damage. Actually, I'm going to take 6 damage because of this. 7 because he had Trample. But at least I get that guy off the board. So again, there's some definite restructuring I need to do here. And a Johnny's Welcome in this particular deck would probably be pretty useful at this point. There isn't a whole lot I'm going to be able to do with those Poison Tipped Archers on the board. We shall see. It is not to say that there is not a working strategy here. It is only to say that the way that this deck that I have is structured, it has proven not to be very effective. So, burning up token cards, which I would rather have kept to generate angels, that is problematic. I am most likely going to lose this and go back to the drawing board to restructure this deck to handle the more common decks that I've seen. Merfolk decks, pretty big deal. See a lot of those. See decks built around this Poison-Tipped Archer fairly often. And of course, you know, he's trying to throw creatures at me with the intention of having them sacrificed. It's very much intentional. So I'm going to take a total of 10 damage. Gain a little bit of life. He knows this, I know this, and yet I'm still blocking. Why? Because I already know that. It isn't taking a block. That's really good. Now I can at least get this out on the board, but I have to find a way. So I'm going to go ahead and try. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice my angel, which is what this would most likely mean. But I'm going to gain some life out of it and knock one of the archers out. I'm not giving up yet. This does weaken him a little bit. He's going to be a little less likely to want to give up the other poison gift archer. So let's see what we can do here. I would like very, very much if I could get a Radiant Destiny. I'm sorry, a Divine Visitation on board. That would help things quite a bit. So this helps a tad. She is not an angel. Oh, I did. I screwed up. Oh well, that is not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and attack with everything and see how it works. At the very least, I'll get a little bit more life gain, and I get some extra mana as well. So, sacrificing my angel for the good of... I believe First Strike does not overwhelm Death Touch. Apparently it does, and I don't believe he was aware of that, nor was I, to be perfectly honest with you. So we both learned something here. That probably messed up his strategy just a tiny little bit. Also, something very powerful for me to keep in mind for the future. Yep, I don't believe he expected that. I did not expect to win. That is good to know. So I learned something. Did not realize that if First Strike damage is applied, could be a bug. Might be worth looking into the rules associated with that, in fact. I'm actually going... Yeah, and it's actually a common search term. Ah, so it has to do with how the damage is applied. So because First Strike hits before the other creature gets an opportunity to touch you, so to speak, Death Touch does not apply. Very interesting ruling, and makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So that was definitely unexpected. Very good to know. We'll have to certainly keep that in mind in the future. So... again, I would still like to restructure this in some ways, and we'll work on that. I'm going to go ahead and try to get another win under my belt so I can get another pack of cards and another freebie card. We'll go ahead and play the Angel deck again, because that was an unexpected win. Let's see if I'm able to at least have it work the way it's intended, which is to have Divine Visitation out. And if you see me with this, I'm vaping. It's helped me quit smoking, like actual smoking. Some people say it's just as bad. It may very well be, but I find that it's considerably cheaper at this stage. And it is seemingly not as bad. I certainly breathe better. One couple things about this, I do have a Divine Visitation in my hand already. That, very helpful. Very, very helpful early on. Because even though it does take a minute to get it on the board, it will, once I have it on the board, very helpful. You only need one on the board. Unfortunately, there's no stacking effect with it. So it doesn't generate extra tokens if you manage to get all four of them in my deck out. So he's got this white-red deck. I believe this is one of the starter decks. I can't confirm that, but it certainly looks like it. So I now have 2 Divine Visitations in my hand. Now, what would be the benefits of this? Well, almost none. Unless you have a deck that gives you a little bit of leeway, if like you have to discard a card, it's basically just a dead card in my hand. The main reason to do this, though, is because it will increase significantly the chances that I will get one on a draw. Try to get it out as soon as possible. If he attacks, I'm going to try to allow it for a little while. My Radiant Destiny is set for Angel mode, so I'm not going to get much benefit. I'm not going to get any benefit of it out of it until I start getting Angels on the board, which will be at least 2 more turns if all goes well. Well, 1 I should say, because I will get to play Voice of Plenty next turn. I'm going to go ahead and let him get it down. and I will be able to play Divine Visitation the turn after that. Don't have the token generators in my hand, but there's another composite green in this. I will, if I were to sacrifice him, then I would in fact get that token, which would then be a 4/4 angel rather than being a 1/1. So he's going to deal with. He uses Hierophant's Cage. That was probably a good move considering he doesn't know about the Divine Visitation in my hand. I will accept that damage. Go ahead and get that Divine Visitation on the board. And then just go ahead and harder. Probably not going to kill it unless he isn't paying attention, which he just realized what he was doing. Good chance to beat this though, only because this deck just simply is not fast enough. I think, as I said, do some restructure it, and I'm hitting a land glut, which is a pain in the butt, to say the least. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and, even though I did get the card on the board that I intended, I'm going to go ahead and see. Because I need to do some work on this deck, for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can't save this broadcast. It may be too late, seeing as how it's already been started, but I'm checking into the details of that. It's also possible OBS would be allowing me to save it as well. Yep. So OBS allows me to save it simultaneously. I will have to keep that in mind in the future. But let's see. So I can save them for up to 14 days. Channel on the dashboard. Activate the automatic saving. Okay, so let's go to my dashboard and see if this is being saved or can be saved. Because this is actually one of my better channels, or one of my better streams. It's one of my first actual genuine streams, meaning it's serving the full purpose it is intended for, which is to actually talk to you guys, to, you know, put things up. And so let's see, streaming tools maybe. Let me see what we have here. I'm gonna have to full screen this for a moment. I can collaborate with a friend. That will be very nice to know. Here we go, channel settings. So store past broadcasts. I don't know if that's going to work in this particular instance since I've already started this stream, but we will find out. And I can then possibly download this and repost. I also know that YouTube saves a little bit of it. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. So I'm not going to take this particular phone call right at the moment. Got some stuff going on. Kind of busy, sorry. So moving right along. Don't know. Not hearing. I was going to say I'm not. Oh, I was concerned there for a moment that we'd lost the sound. I will have to call him back here in a little bit. So, let's see where we're at here. So I didn't win that turn, or win that particular match. I'm going to go ahead and play again, but we're going to use a different deck this time. Let's see. So I've shown you the RB Drakes. I've got a quick burn, which is similar. It's actually the RB Drakes is built off of it. It is more all red, more built around the Gutter Snipe and other cards that do damage to your opponent whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery. Not the best card or the best deck, but fun, very, very fun. So here you can see some of the the pre-decks, the ones that are given to you. You start off with these initial, okay, because they're not playable. You start off with these initial single color decks. There's 5 of them, and then you earn all the way up to here a Johnny Stand as you progress through the first several days of play. It'll pop up in the quest list as tomorrow you will earn a new deck. It'll pop up down here, and you'll be able to see that. Now, once you've earned all of those at this time, there's nothing additional given other than free packs, or coins rather, and free packs. But you'll be able, once a day or one each day, you'll definitely have something down there where if you play so many cards of certain colors, or kill so many creatures, or whatever the case, or cast so many of this or that, then you will earn coins that you can then use to purchase packs or to participate in some of the events. Again, I don't do a lot with the events just yet, but I'm getting more into that. They can be a lot of fun, but certain ones I'm not necessarily the best equipped for, so I'm sort of learning here. Sorry, just checking the phone. I'm going to try to win a round, so I'm going to go ahead and play my, let's see. Go ahead and choose probably one of the pre-decks, one of the ones you're given, just to kind of enjoy a little bit of how it's thrown together. We'll do Primal Fury. Don't that very much. Just to see if I can win a single round and get a free card and a free pack and work from there. At that point, I'll probably disconnect the stream for a little bit. Work on a few other things in real life here. But I'm going to try to make this a regular thing that I do, hopefully on every Sunday, if at all possible. So I don't have a lot of experience with this particular deck. I do know a few of the cards in it from seeing others play it. It's definitely got a lot of mana acceleration. It seems to be built around the idea of getting dinosaurs out. You have the shaman here that can generate 1 mana of any colors. You can also sacrifice it to throw out some 5/5 dragons. There's a little bit of burn in it, I've just noticed. Not a whole lot to do just yet. He might very well be even playing the same deck for all I know, which is something you will run into from time to time. There's a lot of creativity out here. I've seen a lot of different variations on things, but when you are basing a set, you are going to find that the number of cards is limited. You're going to see a lot of themes. I am going to go ahead and leave that be. Let the Bibles be something bigger come out here shortly. So now this one allows me to grab a land out from the first 5 cards if one's available. This guy here gives me mana immediately. Can't get them both out in the same turn, so I'm going to do this one. That's going to allow me hopefully to play 2 cards next turn. And this is good that it comes out on the field already tapped. That's the way it would have been anyway had I drawn that card. And the other 4 cards go back into the deck, and the deck gets shuffled. So for all pretents and purposes, it's allows you to look for land. There is some risk involved in putting him out, is that you won't have a land in the first 5 cards that you draw. So if you don't have a very good percentage of land in your deck, your chances are kind of small in those just 5 cards. So now I've got 2 Llanowar Elves that I can play at the same time. Not going to be able to do all of that in one round, so I have to think very carefully here how I want to play this out. Let's see. When this guy blocks or it gets blocked, deals 1 damage to that creature. So what I am going to go ahead and do is get a Llanowar Elf out. Get another Llanowar Elf out. Get that guy out. Just to save some time. And now I have built up a pretty substantial amount of mana right off the bat. Now, of course, he can take that mana out fairly quickly. There's not a lot of land destroying I've seen in the more recent sets, what's now considered the standard format. So, using creatures for mana can be dangerous. Using lands for mana, pretty safe for the most part, from what I've seen. Doesn't mean though that won't be changed in the future sets. So now I've got a good little bit of mana to work with here. So we're going to get, let's see, a Knight of the Stampede. It's a nice deterrent. Be good getting, because even if he decides to all out just attack, it's going to, and he looks like he's playing the very early red deck. So that leaves me a little less defense on the board, but we will see. I've added a lot more defense in doing so. And a tiny bit more mana. Just while I'm waiting on all this to process, and you guys are watching as well, just a couple other things. I plan on expanding the channel into a few other areas that are not gaming related. At least one, maybe starting up a weekly podcast / radio show sort of thing with a good friend of mine. We'd like to talk politics. Got a few friends that I wouldn't say that I necessarily like to talk politics with, but we do invariably end up on those types of subjects. Dangerous. Not going to bring any of that up here. Just want to know that, everyone to know that is something that's on the horizon. So not a lot of point back on subject here in me attacking at this point. But I may be able to get some 5/5 dragons on the board here next turn, because I should have enough mana to pull that off. I can sacrifice one of these Dragonic Disciples and go ahead and get that out there moving around. So he himself does not have any dragons on the board yet, which he needs to get these guys to trigger their flying. He's got one card in his hand. I feel like it's a burn the way he's cycling through my creatures. He's trying to probably decide if he should use it. It looks like he wants to use it. He's trying to do that. That's what I figured. Pretty obvious. There's a lot of tells if you're paying attention to how the cursor's moving around. Doesn't really bother me that much in this particular instance. It does keep me, however, from getting a bunch of dragons. So now I have at least the one. And he's, going to be at the mercy of whatever cards he draws. Which, as you can see, I am as well. Let's see. Alright, creature with power 4. Let's see. 4 or greater, cost 2 less. So I'm making it cheaper and cheaper to draw a lot of stuff. This is nice. So when I attack with this guy, it's going to +1/+1 my dragon, actually, if I manage to attack with them at the same time. If he survives long enough. I believe that he is playing the starter red deck. I think it's called, like, Dragon's Rage. And so their creature removal is pretty much such, concentrated on direct hits. Not unexpected. And perfectly fine. I don't necessarily use 1/1 tokens on the dragon to make him effective. There are a lot of other things in this deck that I haven't had a chance to play yet. So he's doing an all-out assault. He hasn't locked that in yet. No, he might have hit it by accident, actually, from the look of it. And I am trying to pay attention to the channel at the same time, guys. I need to get another Need to get another monitor set up, apparently. Let's see. So this one, kind of bad. That could be a pain in the butt, because he can take control of most likely my dragon and make these guys flying too, and so that could be a challenge to deal with. And this deck does apparently not have a lot of direct damage, and he can do this next turn. He will definitely be doing this next turn. So I should anticipate this. Now I can try to all-out assault next turn. The thing is, I can absorb the damage from what he's going to end up throwing at me, most likely. Yeah, that is not unexpected in the slightest. So, he's going to at least be able to do 9 damage to me. I could absorb everything that he's got right now, unless he doesn't have any other cards, so he's going to be limited to a small amount of... Yeah, so let's count this out. So 1, 5, 10, and 15. So he can do enough to wipe me out. It's not going to take me a whole lot to be able to block him and prevent this from being particularly bad. It really isn't. So, not all that smart of a move on his part, but his last-ditch efforts are what they are. So I can do math and plainly see what we're dealing with here. Conceded. So got my win that I was looking for, and welcome anyone who just joined. Sorry, I'm really bad at typing and talking at the same time, so I'm doing it verbally as well as typing it in chat. Not getting, I know, getting some views. Appreciate everyone who's at least checking it out. The views help. Not necessarily trying to monetize this right away, just kind of enjoying it. Wouldn't mind, but so let's open this free pack. See what we got here. This could be nice. It's getting a lot of white green, popping up for me. So let's see what's under the magic hat here. Gruesome Menagerie. I don't think I have any of those. Well, that's interesting. So this could potentially allow you to pull up to 3 creatures, fairly weak ones, but pull up to 3 creatures out of your hand, or I'm sorry, out of your graveyard, and put them onto the field immediately. So, kind of interesting. And I don't believe I own a copy of that card, but I could be wrong. So I'm just a couple packs away from getting another free gold wild card. I mentioned a rare wild card. Mentioned how these work. You can trade these in for any card that is legal of that rarity. With some small exception. I think there's some promotional cards that you don't have access to. Uncommon, same thing. You get every 6 packs, you get a free uncommon wild card. Every 6 packs, you get a free gold or rare wild card, and then every, I think, as I said, I believe it's 32 packs, then you get a mythic. At this time, that's how they're one of the ways that they're trying to help with deck development. So, 15 wins in a week earns you a total of 3 Guilds of Ravnica packs. You just saw me open one. Every day you're going to have a win counter that gives you free coins or gold, and that you can use to purchase packs, participate in some of the events. One thing that I don't see a lot that they're doing is the gems. They're not giving away a whole lot of free gems. Now, when you're brand new playing this game, I will mention that the store, and again, this is a free-to-play game with microtransactions, as they like to say. You can choose to pay money. It does have some advantages in doing so. You will have a starter thing starter pack kind of thing that will pop up for $4.99. That's actually a good investment if you enjoy the game and plan on playing. That will give you some good things to start with. A lot more gems and otherwise than you would otherwise get. Gems can be used to purchase packs. It is the conversion currency that you use in this game. So you will turn real American, or I'm assuming euros. Yes, you can turn real American dollars or euros into these digital gems that can be used to purchase packs. They're also used to participate in some of the events. Now, many of the events also have the option of paying gold, so that you're not preventing people who are not spending money from being able to participate in events. They're trying to make it as fair as possible. Now, there are some things, as you can see. This one here, you can only participate using gems. Now, this is a draft, but you get to keep the cards, and you will potentially win more cards. So, one of the reasons I guess they would justify you actually paying with gems is that you will be keeping cards as a result. So, it's kind of like, for a little bit more money, you'll be getting packs, and you also get to do something fun. So I guess is the idea behind it. And if you do well, you can actually earn more than your gems back. If you just get 3 wins, you get all the gems that you put in back, plus an extra pack out of the deal, essentially. If you do terribly, you are going to get at least 1 pack, which you will have paid too much for. The way that if you just go and purchase packs, but you're participating in, an online event. So the minimum, you get 3 packs for 600. So actually, you're really not paying too much for it now that I think about it. That basically makes a pack 200. So if you came out of this, let's see, let's do the math here, people. Well, yeah, you would definitely be paying way too much for a single pack. But like I said, you can get up to just get up to 3 wins. You make your money back, and you get 4 packs. So obviously, it's not going to be easy to convert gems back into cash. Don't think there's any kind of system in place for that that's legitimate at this point. Or even transferring gems to other players, not an option. So there's not going to be a black market for gems. I've seen that in other games where they literally will allow you to buy certain types of resources in a black market kind of situation where they allow them to be transferred around. But that is not, as of yet, how this works. Paper players, in real life, paper players will find codes in packs that can get them stuff in the online version as well, and those can be redeemed in the store. There is a promo code called Play Ravnica. Capitalization is important. You can look this up online. Just look up the Play Ravnica code. But just to simplify, it's capital P, capital R in that. All one word, and that will earn you some free cards as well if you've not cashed in that particular promotion yet when you first start to play. So definitely something to look into. Most of you guys that are watching this stream have probably played the game, probably know way more than anything that I'm telling you, but maybe not. Maybe you've never played Magic before. Maybe you're kind of interested in checking it out. It's all there. Definitely worth looking into. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream for a little bit, take care of a couple outside things that I need to do, probably return that phone call and see what all we have going on. So thank everyone for watching. Follow, subscribe, join, whatever that particular medium allows. Much appreciated, and y'all take care.